Hi, it's Xavier, and swap positions again, so I've got the sun straight at me, and hopefully that won't cause any sort of eye issues for you as the sun shines off my bald scalp, and if it does, then please don't bring it out with me. What we're going to be doing today is listening to the RAF continue to do their manoeuvres, listen to the wind blow, but also try and do a number of urgent repots. The first of them is this Yamadori Linden, which I dug up in 2019, I believe, along with 2 or 3 other trees. It's been in this, well, it's been in this for 3 years now. And when I recovered it, I don't know if I've got a picture, but literally great big chunk top there. It's about 7 foot tall. Just kept those 2 branches, and then I've just let them go on. So I've got to get this out of this soil now and make sure that actually there are roots growing. So we'll go and do that first. It's certainly not tie-ended. Got a lovely rock on it. The key though is to lift this wood gently, because if there is a fine net of roots in there, I don't want to risk disturbing them. So came out nice and cleanly, so that's good. Got a nice load of moss on there. I'm sure the birds will be very happy with that. And what I want to try and do to save myself a little bit of effort is if I can remove a lot of these big surface weeds now, then it'll be a lot easier to reuse this soil. And this is actually really nice moss. I might find a tree to put this on. Now, what was encouraging when I pulled it out was it actually came out still in a clump. I think if you remember back to that silver birch, that came out as a block of wood basically. So we've definitely got more roots. The soil I used on this, very, very friable. I still have to be careful because it's a finer root structure, I can see that. And we may well be swapping over to the Tony root rake, if I can find it. Now normally I've got a mesh screen on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to continue to rake those roots out, and I'll come back to you when they're all cleared. Very, very happy with how these roots are developing. A little bit of clay in there, but I've got a lot of really nice, fine, fibrous roots on this, which means it's quite happily thrived, and it's ready now to go into a pot, I think. Now I would have the option of putting it back into that container, especially if my intention was to try and really push this on a lot more and get that a lot thicker, because as soon as I put that into a smaller container, clearly that's going to reduce the ability of this tree to put on the girth that's needed. Perhaps I need to think about that just a little bit. Anyway, there's the roots on it. Probably front, I don't know where the front there. I quite like all this tangle of roots. So I'm going to continue to wash this out, have a little look at what's under there, and then make a decision about what pot it's going for. Okay, root structure. I've got a few interesting ones going across, but I am quite happy with that. I could take this top one probably off actually, but it's going to be sitting like this. I know there's a decision about whether I actually remove this one here. It's tough to know. I like some of these interesting sort of mangrovey swamp style root systems. So what I'm going to do is this one I'm going to push down, just trim around the edges, I think. Do I get rid of that? If I get rid of that, what I can see in there, and you may not be able to see it, is I think that actually goes inwards a bit, so that's hiding in inverse swelling. So I'm going to keep it as is, to be honest. Rub those out. Don't want those. Okay, let's get that into a pot then, shall we? I have decided to go for a pot. I've had this for quite a long time. I think I bought it in 2017 for £10, which probably says a lot. I've put a layer of very fine pine bark at the bottom. It's such a big pot, and then I've got a good layer of my soil on there. I don't really need to worry about a front yet, but we've got a lovely picture there. Again, just finding the most appropriate securing point. Don't really want to destroy all the roots that are here. I'd like to get some to go around the back. Okay, so that's now secured in. Now, I've actually picked quite a large pot, and when I looked at whether I put it back into the plastic container, I realised it's pretty well the same size, so this can stay in this for, I probably won't touch it for 4 years. I'm happy with the general spread of the roots, so lots of space, but not so much space that it gets dwarfed by it. Okay, so not overly difficult, but it shows you an example. That's 3 years after being recovered from the ground. Reasonable root structure there. I've placed it into a ceramic, but it could equally have gone back into the same plastic. Well, the only reason I've tried to come away from that is because I've got some lovely big drainage holes at the bottom. I wanted to put it in nice freer soil, and hey, it'll look nicer anyway. So we'll let that go. Pruning wise, probably worth making a few decisions. Lots of buds on it, but I want this longer one down here. Truthfully, it's probably going to be cut there. Again, I have no doubt if I put this in soil, it would root like a, I nearly said a rabbit. In fact, I did just say, I can't believe I said that. Anyway, got there, little ones up here. And again, I'm just looking, there's some buds down there, and that's what I'm pruning to. I'm actually wondering whether to cut that one off there. It's a parallel line. It's still quite early sometimes to decide a primary structure. I'm trying to balance the fact that I actually still want it to get lots of leaves on it to give us good root growth. So it's just about making sure we avoid any obvious faults with it. Okay. Not sure that was the right one, but anyway. And again, I may have the intentions to cut that further back. We'll see. Main thing was to get a look at the roots. I'm really happy with the roots and how that's turned out. That'll be fine. I'll be able to sort that out as and how I want it. Good thing is these back bud as well really easily. So, okay, well that's the small leaf lime. I've got a massive Fuji cherry in a great big pot. There's the potential to take lots of cuttings and all sorts off this. I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to have a look and see what we've got for a trunk in it. I'm also going to do the elderberry as well, and potentially the Buddleia, and see if all four go into the same video. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to go in to do this. This was a Yamadori Prunus that I got from my favourite digging site, Avalon Nursery. I think I got this 4 years ago now. It was 2 years in a washing up bucket. It's been this for 2 years. Great big lovely mass on it, but this is slow. That's all I want to do. Let's go back to buds again. So here we've got a bud here and a bud here. And I picked those because I want two branches coming out. Here I've got bud there, 2, 3. So we'll do that. This, we're still trying to heal this. Don't know where the front or back is, to be honest, yet. These are quite close together. Beautiful, look at that, it's beautiful. Okay. Right, what I've tried to do here is, because I know it's a long-term project, I want to try and get rid of too many straight lengths, so it's just about and in many ways I'm having a play with them, to be honest, interested to see which way I can go with it. I could see this actually there and there. Let's be honest, that's what I really want to do. That's what I want to do. In fact, that's what I want. Or it could be that I actually cut again there and let that go. Anyway, it's a bit of prudence for something different. Oh well, we'll see how that responds to that. Okay, the next one we're going to have a quickly look at is this Buddleia. This was in the ground for quite a few years, and I do believe it started out as a cutting probably about 8-9 years ago, so it's been left in the ground for quite a while. It's been in this now for, I think I've had it in this for 2 years. I was going to repot it last year and never got around to it. Lots of new growth on it, so I'm going to pull it out and have a look. Okay. Okay. So as we say, it's always a good sign when the actual root ball holds together. Now I've actually got a couple of Marmay Buddleia. See what the roots are like on this. Doesn't look like there's a massive root ball. I did have the feeling that it was actually starting to decline, which is, that's lovely. Look at that movement there that was hidden. So anyway, let's have a look. Quite a fine root system. Okay, there's definitely roots on the bottom there, not as much as I'd like, and to be fair the soil's quite decent, so have a look. I'm going to put that into a decent pot. And again, the aim with all these is every time you're trying to do stuff with roots is you are trying to reduce, always trying to reduce if you can, so that'll do. Okay, again still a fairly deep pot, and I don't intend to expose the root base quite yet. I'd say I was always impressed with the movement on this one, but you know, I would definitely like there to be a lot more root in there. So I want to think a little bit about what we've got here on this. I'm not sure, but I think, yeah, that's dead. Okay. Now they are always, the thing about these, they all tend to grow as shrubs. They are, in a sense, exactly what you see. So it's very difficult to try and train them as a tree. But they normally respond well to cutting back. So we'll just have a look where there's, often you'll get the growth from the junctions further back. As soon as you start seeing that growth come out, cut back to it. Here, so that's died back. I suppose the decision is whether we really want this branch here, or actually do I want to... Oh, mind you, if you have it like that, it looks better. I've got a little growth there, that's quite encouraging. I quite like that one there. It's always that balance of trying to bring these back down. You get the growth right at the end, and it's trying to get it a lot lower down, like here. You know, I suppose it's experimental again. I haven't paid anything for it, so there's part of me that goes, in this design, this is far too high. What would happen? Do you know what? Let's just see what happens. I mean, that's too high, and truthfully, if I was going to have it, it would probably be leaning a lot more like that. But I'm going to see how it responds there. They do backbud so well, and if it responds well to those, then I will cut it back even harder next time. And that's something to learn, is you observe how your trees work, especially if they're the garden centre nursery things. You know, you can experiment with them and just see, but make sure you take a note of what they do. And if they die, you just don't do that again. So that'll do for now. You should see if that came from there. I think there's some buds there as well. And if I get anything lower down, I'm bringing it right back. Okay, so we'll give this a spin. The movement is just incredible, all this here. So I'll be very, very interested to see how that responds. And as I say, any signs that I can get growth further back, I'll be cutting right back. And I'm pretty sure if I cut that right back to there, I would definitely get the results I'm looking for, I think. Might do a little bit more reading on them. So, yeah, so that's my Buddleia. I'm probably going to do the Elderberry next, and then probably call it a day for today. I've got a load of little marmay things I want to look at as well, but don't know how we're doing for time. Right, let's get that elderberry next, shall we? Okay, so I'm going to look at one of the elderberries as well. I've got 4 of them to actually do, but we'll look at this one. Lots of new shoots coming out on it, but I can also see a lot lower down there's shoots from there. So we'll have a look. I've got to try and decide what to do with this. But first thing, let's have a look and see what the roots look like, shall we? Okay, it came out as a nice little clump. And apparently, I have a claim to fame, is if you put in a Google search for elderberry and bonsai, my video comes up first. That'll be that video up there. It's definitely got a lot of root growth. Okay, very interesting root setup. Lots of roots higher up. Probably want to reduce the height of this. Got a crossing root there. There. I'm not quite sure how this root setup is, or whether it's possible to have a solid root flare. They look quite fleshy, these roots. There's one coming back on itself. And again, they haven't cost me anything, so I can experiment a little bit, see what they do. Okay, so we've got nothing. Okay, so what we've got is the roots have come back on themselves to form that. So shall we cut this big one here and see what happens? So ideally what we just want those roots to actually form as they should. I have no idea how this is going to respond to that. But if I want to have any hope of having any sort of decent root, then I need to have stuff coming the other way. I can't have going down. I think it's actually going to produce roots really well. What do we do with it though? We either take everything low down. I'm going to remove that, I think. Or am I going to remove there? This is what I mean about the back budding all the way back to there. I think we need to learn about this one a bit better. Let's just see how it responds. I think they're all dead there. I mean, it doesn't look like a bonsai, I know that, but I wanted to, so I'm going to keep. I'm going to put this back into a training pot and see how it responds to that. Where would the? Truthfully, that's going to come off. Let's be real. I'm just trying to think how much of that I would take off. That's the one that's coming off. Alright, that's at least we've got more of a bonsai sort of shape there, I think. I need to get that into a pot. Okay, I'm certainly not going to waste a bonsai pot on it or anything. So you're going to go in a straightforward black pot. Actually, I probably want it to be in a wider one, don't I? Because I do want those roots to, yeah. Let's think a bit harder about that one. Okay, it's starting to rain, so we need to get this in there, and we need to get the camera out of the wet. Okay, so that's the elderberry repotted. So we've done an elderberry, we've done a linden, and we've also done a buddleia. Hopefully you've seen something new or different from the different root systems of each of these, and they're at different stages. But from Xavier, I'd like to say thanks very much for taking time to watch. Hopefully you've got something from this. All the best, God bless, happy bonsaiing. Cheers.